It looks like there is set to be a major TNA Wrestling versus WWE NXT storyline, with TNA wrestlers planning an invasion of NXT possibly as early as next week. We'll let you know all the details in this news update. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. And could we see a TNA Wrestling invasion of WWE NXT as early as next week? Well, certainly last night during WWE NXT Homecoming, it looks like the seeds were planted by several high-profile TNA Wrestling stars. Let's get straight into this and begin with a major match that is set for next week's episode of WWE NXT. Now, Obafemi, the NXT champion, and Trick Williams, the TNA World Champion, will collide with major stakes on next week's September 23rd episode of WWE NXT. WWE announced that NXT champion Obafemi will face TNA World Champion Trick Williams in a title versus title match next Tuesday on NXT. The winner will go on to face Ricky Saints at NXT No Mercy, of course, the upcoming PLE. Now, when it comes to this, though, there's a bit more than meets the eye here, because throughout last night's NXT Homecoming show, several TNA wrestling stars were posting their displeasure about the disrespect towards TNA wrestling shown during NXT Homecoming. As I mentioned, 2 titles will be on the line for the September 23rd episode of NXT. Obafemi, the NXT champion, will face Trick Williams, the TNA World Champion, title versus title. Now, Santino Marella, TNA's Director of Authority, wrote, quote, "This is getting to be too much. Honestly, I'm very close to ... whatever. I'm just saying it's getting to be too much." Mike Santana stated, quote, "After the week I've just had, to be honest, I just don't give an F. I don't care who shows up to TNA Bound for Glory as champion. Just make sure you're ready. All my pain becomes purpose. I don't plan on my daughter leaving the arena heartbroken again. You're all effed. Also, to keep it real with everyone, I'm pretty sick and tired of all the WWE/NXT has control over TNA and can do what they want bullshit. Think it's about time we put it to rest and do something about." Santana will challenge TNA for the TNA title at Bound for Glory. Now, former WWE superstar Cedric Alexander, he also wrote, quote, "I came to TNA for new opportunities and to reinvent myself. I refuse to sit around and have WWE NXT talent take those opportunities. It's time for a change." Fellow former WWE superstars also had stuff to say by saying the following. This comes courtesy of, as I mentioned, Mustafa Ali as well. He said, quote, "NXT celebrates its past but disrespects TNA's future. Many will talk about it. A few will do something about it. Consider this a warning, Shawn Michaels." Now, the Inspiration, who were the Iconics in NXT, said, quote, "Sick to death of NXT running roughshod over TNA like there are no consequences. You're playing with fire, Shawn Michaels." And also said, quote, "Wow, WWE NXT really thinking they can do whatever they want with TNA? You gotta be joking me. Hashtag NXT Homecoming." TNA International Champion Steve Macklin, the former Steve Cutler in NXT, stated, quotes, "I'm not here for nostalgia, I'm fed up. NXT remembers me, I don't forget. Lines keep getting crossed, and now your answer to me. Hashtag hold the line." Moose, who's appeared in NXT in the past, stated, quote, "Title versus title, winner takes all. Is that even possible?" At Santino Marella, "Doesn't Carlos Silva have to approve this decision? This is very frustrating. We'll be watching this match very closely. I have unfinished business with both Oba and Trick. Hashtag NXT Homecoming." So certainly there was a lot of reactions online. Matt Hardy, of course, WWE legend, tweeted, quote, "Looking forward to checking out NXT Homecoming tonight, but looking more forward to finally bringing the TNA title back to where it belongs. Tired of NXT talent thinking he runs TNA just because he holds our title." So with this going on, it's led to naturally a lot of speculation speculation that maybe we're getting some kind of TNA invasion. Now, several high-profile reporters were even posting the old Invasion pay-per-view logo from 2001, when it, of course, was the Alliance versus WWF at the time. So if we get any more details on a possible TNA invasion storyline or a possible upcoming PLE, that is going to be WWE NXT versus TNA Wrestling, we'll let you know. But what are your thoughts on what could happen here? Let me know your reactions in the comment section below. Now, before we move on to the next news story, a reminder that this video is brought to you in collaboration with all of our affiliates, which includes NordVPN. You can see throughout this video on the sidebar. You'll also see in the video description below. It'll be pinned in the comment section. You can get up to 73% off plus 3 months extra fee free. All you've got to do is scan the QR code, click the link in the video description or in the pinned comment section. Now is the perfect time with WWE WrestlePalooza coming up this Saturday, September 20th. Of course, it's the first WWE main roster PLE that's not going to be on Peacock. Instead, it's moving to ESPN. A lot of people are wondering how much that's going to cost them. Well, you can actually save money if you get NordVPN. All you have to do is change your location to an international territory, such as here in the UK, and you can watch everything, all WWE, through one Netflix subscription. You can watch Raw, SmackDown, NXT, main roster PLEs like WrestlePalooza, NXT PLEs. You can also watch Saturday night's main event for free on YouTube, and all you've got to do is get NordVPN. If you use our link, you can save yourself some money, and you can support the channel in the process. Your support is really much appreciated. Now, Triple H and Shawn Michaels were present last night at NXT Homecoming. Triple H opened NXT Homecoming on September 16th, returning to Full Sail University when he had led the NXT brand to new heights. Triple H reflected on NXT's run at Full Sail and thanked the crowd, saying they are why NXT is stronger than ever. Shawn Michaels made his way to the ring, and Triple H said Michaels is doing a great job with NXT currently, but stated, "What if I told you that I want to come back?" Now, after a stare down, former NXT General Manager William Regal made his way out. He simply hit his War Games line. The Women's Tag Team Champions Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss were out next, reminding everyone that the women have always run NXT ahead of their title bouts against the Culling. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. DIY, they were at NXT Homecoming last night. Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano brought back the classics for their return at NXT Homecoming. Ciampa entered to No One Will Survive, while Gargano used Rebel Heart. The two men famously used those themes during their NXT runs. Ciampa entered with War Paint for the match. DIY took on Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams in tag team actions. This was the first match for DIY on NXT since 2021. However, they were not victorious, as Carmelo Hayes got the victory of his team thanks to some outside interference from The Miz. Now, The Miz wasn't known for being a regular at NXT, but he had an impact at NXT Homecoming, helping Carmelo Hayes. He interfered in a tag team bout that saw Hayes team with Trick Williams against DIY. The former WWE champion hit a skull-crushing finale on Gargano on the outside before tossing him in the ring and allowing Melo to pick up the victory. Miz and Melo team on WWE SmackDown as Melo don't Miz. So, of course, Miz continuing to help out Carmelo Hayes even in NXT. Now, we saw several main roster stars on NXT last night. Several main roster stars returning to NXT, that is. Former NXT superstars and more were on hand for NXT Homecoming. Former NXT champion Sami Zayn appeared at NXT Homecoming, speaking in a backstage segment and praising Javon Evans. Zayn was confronted by Josh Briggs, who was attacked by Evans. Zayn spoke with Evans, saying, "It doesn't come easy for guys like them, but that the sky is the limit." Former NXT North American champion Damian Priest appeared in a backstage segment, giving advice to Tavon Heights and announcing that Heights will challenge for the NXT North American title against Ethan Page at No Mercy. Former NXT champion Bobby Roode also made a glorious appearance at a backstage segment with Charlie Dempsey and Ren Sinclair. Joe Hendry also appeared, and Roode told him that he was proud to see Hendry with the TNA World title at WrestleMania and that Hendry should have his eyes on the NXT Championship. Former NXT champion Finn Balor entered to his original theme song, interrupting Lexis King and hitting the coup de grace. Former NXT Tag Team champion Montez Ford appeared backstage, speaking to Dark State. Bianca Belair appeared in the crowd before the main event. Though he was never part of NXT, El Hijo de Dr. Wagner was in attendance, sitting in the front row for Ethan Page defending the NXT North American Championship against Tyler Breeze. We also saw Shayna Baszler appear on NXT last night. There have been rumors and rumblings of her becoming a producer for for the brand. Now, Shayna Baszler made her return to NXT at NXT Homecoming, appearing in a backstage segment with Zarya and Sol Ruka. Zarya was still upset with Sol after getting hit with a Soul Snatcher in a triple threat tag team match last Tuesday, which cost them an opportunity at the WWE Women's Tag Team titles. Baszler appeared, telling them to get their act together. Baszler reminded them that she is a former NXT Women's Champion and WWE Women's Tag Team Champion. Candice LeRae also appeared in the segment. LeRae is one win away from challenging Sol Ruka for the WWE Women's Speed Championship at No Mercy. Baszler was released by WWE in May, but has still been around the WWE Performance Center to help with training and to be on the headset. Of course, if we get any more details on her status with the company, we'll let you know in a future video. Speaking of former NXT Women's Champions, we saw several of them last night. Stephanie Vaquer brought the Devil's Kiss back to NXT, and Rhea Ripley joined in on the fun. Vaquer and Ripley teamed with Lyra Valkyria to take on Fatal Influence at NXT Homecoming on September 16th. During the match, Ripley and Vaquer synced up for a double Devil's Kiss, with Vaquer pounding Henley and Ripley pounding JC. Lyra ensured the move was hit without interference, taking out Nyx with a drop kick through the ropes to the outside. Booker T called the move as you would expect. The former NXT Women's Champions were victorious in the match, with Ripley hitting Riptide on Jane after Lola Vice prevented the reigning NXT Women's Champion from running, cutting her off on the ramp and knocking her back into the ring with a spinning back fist. I mentioned Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss's presence last night on NXT. Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair reminded everyone that the women have always run NXT in their promo at NXT Homecoming. Bliss and Flair named superstars from the past, including the Four Horsewomen, that being Bayley, Mercedes Moné, aka Sasha Banks, Charlotte and Becky Lynch, Ember Moon, also known as Athena in AEW, Carmella, Asuka, Io Sky, Shayna Baszler, Paige, and more. The Four Horsewomen were not identified individually except for Charlotte, who was named by Bliss after Charlotte mentioned her tag team partner. After their promo, Bliss and Flair successfully defended the Women's Tag Team Championships against the Cullings, Izzy Dame, and Tatum Paxley. The finish saw Bliss hit the Sister Abigail on Paxley. Charlie Dempsey said he's heading to Japan last night on NXT. At NXT Homecoming, Charlie Dempsey announced that he'll be headed to Japan for a month. He expects Ren Sinclair to hold down the fort while he is away. Bobby Roode and Joe Hendry also appeared in the segment after Ren said Glorious bringing in Roode and Hendry to bring in Joe Hendry. Now, it's unclear which promotion Dempsey will compete for in Japan. WWE has had a working relationship with Pro Wrestling Noah, which saw Josh Briggs and Tavon Heights competing in the Noah N1 Victory 2024 tournament. Amos has also worked in Japan with Noah. Yoshiki Inamura has been a part of NXT, coming over from Noah. If we get any more details on his future bookings, we'll let you know in an upcoming video. An NXT North American Championship match has been confirmed for the No Mercy PLE. Tavon Heights will challenge Ethan Page for the NXT North American title at NXT No Mercy. The bout was announced by Damian Priest, who previously spoke to NXT General Manager Ava at NXT Homecoming. Of course, Ethan Page is still the NXT North American Champion. He successfully defended his title against Tyler Breeze at the NXT Homecoming show last night. We have the ratings for Saturday's episode of AEW Collision on TNT. While the September 13th episode of AEW Collision didn't draw record low numbers like the August 30th edition of the show, it appears as though college football is still impacting AEW's Saturday show, even as the company speeds towards its next pay-per-view, AEW All Out Toronto. The episode, taped on a Thursday from the historic 2300 Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, was down in viewership from the previous week by a reported 22%. According to WrestleNomics, Collision drew 235,000 viewers for its September 13th show that saw the Death Riders take on Paragon and a 10-woman tag team match. The show drew a 0.05 in the ever-important 1849 demographic, also down from the previous week's 0.07. WrestleNomics reported that Collision ranks somewhere below the top 5 programs for the night on cable in the demographic. The September 13th show was down 11% compared to the trailing 4-week average of 266,000 viewers. It was down 17% compared to the trailing 4 weeks in the demographic. The show's overall viewership has improved since the August 30th show that only drew 195,000 total viewers and a 0.04 in the demo. That week, there were drops in viewership across the board when it came to wrestling shows, however. Those who tuned in for the latest episode of Collision on the road to All Out saw a newly healed Daniel Garcia team with the leader of the Death Riders, Jon Moxley, to take on his former friends Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly in the main event. Elsewhere on the show, Kazuchika Okada defeated Michael Oku in a Unified Championship Eliminator match, and Chris Statlander, Harley Cameron, Jamie Hayter, and TJ were defeated by Triangle of Madness, Megan Bayne, and Penelope Ford in a $500,000 10-woman tag team match. We also have the viewership information for last week's episode of WWE Monday Night Raw on Netflix. As excitement for WrestlePalooza, WWE's first premium live event on ESPN's new streaming service, ramps up, the ratings and viewership for WWE Raw are likely to follow, and that was the case for the September 8th episode of The Red Brand. After AJ Lee returned on WWE SmackDown the prior Friday, Monday's show saw her cut her first promo back after a decade away and challenge Women's Intercontinental Champion Becky Lynch and World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins to a mixed tag team match at WrestlePalooza against herself and her husband CM Punk. According to WrestleNomics, with data from Netflix, the episode drew 2.6 million global viewers over 7 days. That's up from a low of 2.4 million viewers the previous week. The show ranked 8th globally for the week among English-language TV shows on the streaming service and 6th in the United States. The September 8th episode of Raw dropped a spot domestically from 5th the prior week. The fight pitting Canelo Alvarez against Terence Crawford took the #1 spot on Netflix, with Wednesday Season 2 coming in 2nd and Beauty in Black Season 2 in 3rd. Raw amassed 5.1 million hours viewed over the course of the week. In addition to Lee and Punk issuing their WrestlePalooza challenge to Rollins and Lynch, the episode also saw an opening promo from the recently reunited Usos. Raquel Rodriguez defeated Lyra Valkyria, Penta took on Rusev, and Asuka defeated WWE Hall of Famer Nikki Bella. The main event match saw Big Bronson Reed with Bron Breakker in his corner defeat LA Knight with a Death Valley driver. Now, a contract signing has been confirmed for tonight's September to Remember AEW special. There is going to be a 3-hour block of AEW programming on September 17th titled September to Remember. The show lineup has been rounded out and a new addition has been made. TNT champion Kyle Fletcher will be challenging Hangman Adam Page for the AEW World Championship at AEW All Out. Page and Fletcher will be present on the September 17th show to sign the contract for their title match. And finally, a bit more of an update when it comes to WrestlePalooza and all of the branding and work that's going into it. The first WrestlePalooza event under the WWE banner is upon us, and it's likely to be the first of many, and likely to be many big ones. According to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, ESPN and WWE wanted to put forth a huge show for many reasons. The ESPN debut, competing with AEW All Out, although the latter is more of a WWE concern than anything. But from what Fightful Select's Sean Ross Sapp is told, the company hopes to make WrestlePalooza a major event going forward. Earlier this year, Fightful Select reported that WWE had considered and mentioned the idea of doing 2 WrestleManias in 1 year along with the Saudi Arabia deal, one of which would be a special branded WrestleMania event titled Super WrestleMania or something of that ilk. However, the Saudi Arabian government made it clear they wanted the WrestleMania. Fightful Select was told that was a big reason why WWE went heavy into WrestlePalooza, the branding, and will likely continue that in future years. Obviously, the AEW competition, the ESPN debut are huge factors, but sources in WWE tout Fightful Select that it is being looked at as something that can also help fill the gaps in future years if WrestleMania takes place outside of North America. While it's the first WrestlePalooza in WWE, it's not the first WrestlePalooza in history. It was an ECW tradition until April 2000. Also, First Wrestling had the trademark in recent years. One source said they believed the idea to get and use WrestlePalooza branding likely would have been that of Nick Khan, who was a big ECW fan in his younger years. But there you go, guys, the latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right-hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.